horses and 5 dogs were coming out of it, and she stopped to accost and kiss them. Each child was as fresh as a daisy, its hair like floss silk with careful brushing, its petticoats as dainty as its frock, its socks and boots immaculate. There was Nanny, her godchild, shot up slim and tall from the dumpling baby that her aunt remembered, showing plainly the milky fair, sunny faced, wholesome woman that she was presently to become. Deb gazed at her with aches of regret. She had thought them for ever stifled in Claude's all sufficing companionship for her own lost motherhood, and of lesser but still poignant regret that she had not been allowed to adopt Nanny in Bob Goldsworthy's place. The joy of dressing and taking out a daughter of that stamp, of having her at home with one, to make the tea, and to chat with, and to lean on. Old Keziah came to the door, Keziah sleek and placid, like the family she served, delighted to welcome the distinguished traveller, but still more delighted to brag about the last Breen baby. "A lovely boy, without a spot or blemish," said Keziah, "3 times over. And that makes 11, and not one too many. And Miss Rose doing fine, thank you. I'll go and prepare her for the surprise, so it don't upset her." Constance, quite a grown young lady, met her aunt on the stairs. Kathleen and Lucy rose from the piano in the drawing room, where they had been entertaining their mother at a safe distance with their latest learned pieces. They too had to be greeted and kissed, and sweeter flesh to kiss no lips could ask for. "My husband may be a draper," Rose had often said, "but I'll trouble you to show me a duke with a handsomer family." Mentally, Deb compared the cool, flower petalled cheeks of her Breen nieces with her Goldsworthy nephew's mouth, covering those unpleasant teeth. It would have been fairer to compare him with her Breen nephews, but there the contrast would have been nearly as great. John, at business with his father, and Pennycuick learning station management with the Simpsons at Bundaboo, had the fresh and cleanly appearance of all Rose's children. In physical matters they were as clean as they looked. Bob did not look unclean, but with all his excessive smartness he looked unfresh. That look, and the thing it meant, were his father's legacy to him. At last Deb reached her sister's room. It was another addition to their ever-growing house, and marked, like each former one, the ever-growing prosperity of the shop supporting it. The fastidious travelled eye appraised the rich rugs and hangings, the massive suite, the delicately furnished bed, and took in the general air of warm luxury and unstinted comfort, even before it fell upon Rose herself. Rose, fat and fair, and the picture of content, sitting in the softest of armchairs, and the smartest of gowns and slippers, by the brightest of wood fires, with a table full of new novels and magazines on one side of her, and a frilly cradle on the other. "My husband may be a draper," she had remarked at various times, "but he does give me a good home." Deb, so long homeless amid her wealth, conceded at this moment, without a grudge, that Rose's humble little arrow of ambition had fairly hit the mark. They embraced with all the warmth of the old Redford days. A few hasty questions and answers were exchanged, and their heads met over the cradle. "You poor child!" Deb exclaimed, as a matter of form. "Haven't you done with this kind of thing yet?" "Oh," said Rose, "I should feel lost without one now. And we wanted another boy. We have only 3, you know. Isn't he a darling?" Number 11, fast asleep, was fished from his downy bed and laid in his aunt's arms, eagerly extended for him. His clothes might have been woven by fairies, and he smelt like a violet bed in spring. Strange thrills, sharper than those that Nanny had set going, shook Deb's big heart as she cuddled and kissed him. "The older I get," she confessed, "the greater fool I am about a baby. And you do have such nice babies, Rose." "Yes," simpered Rose, "they are nicer than most. Certainly. I'm sure I don't know why." Her eyes gloated on the white bundle. She fidgeted to get it back. "Ah, Debbie, I wish you knew." "I know you do, my dear," laughed Deb, a little queerly, and she returned the baby in order to hunt for her handkerchief. "And if you must know the truth, so do I. It's tantalizing to see you with more than your share, while I have none, and never shall have, worse luck. Well," blowing her nose cheerfully, "it's no use crying over spilt milk, is it? And I tipped the can over myself, so I can't complain. How's Peter?" Rose told her how Peter was, so dear, so good, and then had so much to say about the children, one by one, through all the 11 of them, that it was quite in a hurry at last that Deb disclosed her secret, and Rose not only sustained no shock, which would have been bad for her, but could see nothing in the marriage worth fussing about, except the fact that it came too late for a family. Such a sordidly domestic person was she. She mourned and condoled over the spilt milk, so sure that Deb was but hungrily lapping up drops with the dust of the floor, that Deb grew almost angry. She took back her own words, and said she was glad there was no children to come between her and her husband, who needed only each other. She implied that this union had a higher significance than could be grasped by a mere suckler of fools, nice fools, no doubt, a chronicler of small beer, however good the brew. She believed it, too. Love, great, solemn, immortal love, passionate and suffering, was a thing unknown to comfortable, commonplace Rose, as doubtless to Peter also. They were dear, good people, and fortunate in their ignorance and what it spared them, but it was annoying when ignorance assumed superior knowledge, and wanted to teach its grandmother to suck eggs. Was it come to this, that a marriage and a family were synonymous terms? No, indeed, nor ever would, while intelligent men and women walked the earth. Deb reserved the more sacred confidences for Mary's ear. Mary had loved, strangely indeed, but tragically, with pain and loss, the dignified concomitants of the divine state. Mary would understand. Chapter 26.